welcome to I Got My Miracle.
Hello, thanks.
I'm with Bobby.
Hello, thanks, John.
I just
Appreciate it.
I don't know if you are old enough to remember the show Dallas.
No.
So it was like a nighttime soap opera,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
And it was all about these ranchers and oil people that live in Dallas. And one of the guys' names was Bobby, and one of the brothers of this family. And they always said, Bobby. Bobby. And I don't know. Now every time I say Bobby, I go, Bobby, Bobby. I just think of.
You know what I've gotten a lot in my life? God damn it, Bobby. From King of the Hill.
Oh.
Yeah. I've heard that so many times. Not so much anymore. King of the Hill was kind of like more my growing up.
No, that was good.
But yeah, I've heard that many times.
Propane and propane products.
Yep.
Okay, so all right. Well, now that we're going down memory lane with TV shows, welcome to I Got My Miracle. Each week at Rhythmia, we choose a person, a beautiful soul, who had an extraordinary week, and we want to share their week with you. And so this week we got Bobby.
Hello, good to be with everybody.
Damn it, Bobby. And damn it, Bobby had a great week.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was a great week. We had a great week together. And so I'm just gonna get into it, because you guys know about Rhythmia. You're watching this because it's something about like the miraculous experiences that people have each week at Rhythmia. And I've been here for almost 8 years, 7.5 years. And wow, it's truly, I've seen so many miracles, and I've had miracles myself, like miracles, shifts in perception, releasing things that no longer serve me, stepping into my more and more authentic self, more compassionate self, more loving self, being more clear about what I want, what I need, what I desire, what I deserve. All of these things are happening. And we want to share that with you. So, Bobby, tell me, where are you from?
California.
And where in California?
Thousand Oaks. It's about 45 minutes outside.
Has about 1,000 oaks?
Thousand Oaks, yeah, about 1,000 oaks.
About 1,000 oaks.
Yes.
That's why they call it 1,000 oaks. A lot of oak trees there?
A lot of oak trees. Yeah. Actually, we built a tree house in an oak tree when I was growing up, and it is frowned upon. It's actually not. You're not allowed to build tree houses in the oak trees that are there. So.
But you actually grew up there.
Yeah. I grew up in Torrance, actually.
I know Torrance.
Oh, really? Yeah. You lived in Marina Del Rey. It's right around that area.
Southern California.
Yeah, you're familiar. Yeah.
So you grew up in Torrance, but then moved to South Thousand Oaks.
Yeah.
And you still live there.
Still live there.
And what do you do?
So I actually do Reiki, and am developing a coaching program, and I've been working at the Cheesecake Factory for about 10 years now.
All right.
As a server.
And Reiki, how'd you get into Reiki?
Yeah, so I had a whole spiritual awakening about 5 years ago, and just became fascinated with energy healing, had a quantum healing session done, and could feel the energy building in my chest and spreading through my body as this woman was 4 feet behind me. I could hear her chanting, and I'm like, how is this possible? And became fascinated with the way the body heals and energy healing and different modalities. And yeah, it really led me down this path to discover more.
And as you're talking, I can also see you be like just an amazing presence at a table, like, being of service. I was in the restaurant business for a long time, ran restaurants, waited tables for a long time, bartended for a long time. And I could just totally be like, I could totally see you being awesome.
Beautiful. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So what called you to come to Rhythmia?
Oh man. Like you said, I was called to be here actually. Ayahuasca has been something that has fascinated me for the last 10 years, knowing all the benefits. And about a month ago, I opened up Instagram, and one of my buddies had just told me to follow this guy, this certified health nut, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I followed this guy. The next day, I'm kind of just like sitting on my couch, open up Instagram. The first video that pops up was, ayahuasca might be a great tool, and it goes into if you've developed a meditation practice, had a spiritual awakening, and pretty much described like the last 4 or 5 years of my life. So that really planted the seed. About an hour later, I go to Starbucks, and the license plate in front of me has DMT in the license plate. And yeah, I kind of knew it's going to be soon. And about 2.5 weeks ago, I had this overwhelming urge to do
Poop and
ayahuasca.
puke.
Yeah,
Oh,
to poop and puke before the end of the year was like kind of like where my head was at. And yeah, it really sparked me to do research, find out where I wanted to go. And having been to Costa Rica earlier this year, I was definitely familiar with Rhythmia, and it lined up perfectly to be able to come and to be here for the new year and yeah, have the amazing experience that I did.
How did you get New Year's Eve off at work?
So I actually am in a little bit of transition. I have carpal tunnel in my wrist, and I haven't been able to work for the last couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that definitely sparked me having free time. And you're
Oh,
right, this is like one of the busiest times of the year in the restaurant season.
Right.
And yeah, it's would not have happened. I would not have been able to get the time off if,
So one of the things that I love as a spiritual principle, I love spiritual principles. And one spiritual principle is everything's working together for my good.
Yeah.
So even carpal tunnel is working together for your good.
Absolutely.
They gave you the time to be able to come and do this.
It did.
So, okay. So you had this call.
Yes.
You're like, I really want to do ayahuasca. Okay. And then you mentioned Certified Health Nut, who's Troy Casey, who's a good friend of mine.
Oh, really?
I love Troy.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He's been down here.
Oh my God.
And for a while he was living in Sedona and I was in Sedona and I went, so I mean, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
I love him.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna reach out to you, Troy, and be like, dude, you got to watch I Got My Miracle, because we totally
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, you inspired me. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
it's so good to know, because so often we're out there putting content out and we don't really know, but then like somebody recommended that I follow you. I followed you, and then your video on ayahuasca came up, and then
divine time.
That was the thing that got him to Rhythmia.
Yeah,
right on, brother. Troy Casey, Certified Health.
Yeah, thank you, Troy.
Yeah. So a little shout out to my brother. Okay, so cool. So everything's lining up. You go to the Starbucks, you see DMT, you're like, all right, it's coming. Then it was like, I really want to do this before the end of the year. You researched. What about Rhythmia had you say like, okay?
So Rhythmia is definitely well known. I came down to Costa Rica. I saw the signs for the shamans, and in my head was like, this would be a great place to do it. And started talking to some people about, different ayahuasca places in Costa Rica. And Rhythmia is like very well known, fairly highly spoken about. So yeah, it definitely was something that felt right with me. And doing more research, hearing Jerry's story, and yeah, it felt right for me.
Perfect. I mean, that's what, it's got to feel good for us, right?
Absolutely.
Like something it's like a gut feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
So you pick Rhythmia, you decided to come to Rhythmia.
Actually, you know what? It was really on the phone interview that sold me. I was kind of indifferent. I actually did a lot of research into other places, and like it was very soon. It was like 2.5 weeks notice that I'm trying to set this up. So a lot of places didn't have openings, and yeah, after kind of like going through that whole process, I almost gave up on doing it in my time frame. Because for here, you have to set up a phone interview to kind of get more information. So I had my phone interview with Kayla, and we vibed. Like, it was such an amazing conversation. One of the things that I've learned from studying my human design is trusting my body. And when you get a full body yes, like trust that, lean into that. And just over the conversation with Kayla, more and more of a full body yes, more and more of a full body yes. And yeah, just in that moment, I knew this was meant to be. And right. Yeah.
Amazing.
So thank you, Kayla.
Kayla, we're just like giving all the and now I got to call Kayla too. I mean,
yeah, seriously.
Or better yet, Kayla's boss.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Please do. Yeah.
So phone interview closed it for you. Got a full yes in your body.
Yeah.
And chose to come down here. You got down here. What was was it just, I felt called to do ayahuasca, or was there something you wanted to heal? You've obviously you've had a spiritual awakening. You've been doing work.
Yeah.
What was it that like had you want to do this?
Yeah. So I have been on a healing journey for years now, and psychedelics have played a big part in that. In knowing the benefits of how much they have affected me, ayahuasca was definitely, I feel like, the next step in my progression. And I'm glad I leaned into that, because it was one of the most beneficial weeks of my life.
So tell me about that. Like what was which of these questions appeals to you to answer most? What was the highlight of your week? What was your miracle? Out of those two.
My miracle was finding unconditional love for hours in one of my ceremonies. And I have never felt that feeling in my life. Yeah.
Tell me more about unconditional love for hours in your ceremony.
Yeah, it was on ladies' night. I've definitely resonated more with women my entire life. Had a big realization about how I never really had like that close of a connection with my dad, and that was profound for me. And yeah, literally just leaned in. It was the happiest I've ever been in my life, and leaned into this feeling of love, and it overcame me. And I was at so much peace, and I had a lot of expectations coming in here, and it did not go how I thought it was going to go. So to finally have that kind of experience after having, some rough ones, it was profound for me. Yeah.
What you mentioned really could happen in any ayahuasca ceremony, right? Feeling of unconditional love, this sense of peace. What was different? Have you done ayahuasca before at other places?
No.
Okay. So what would you say is a hallmark that is, better yet, how did you find the classes? Did you find the classes to be helpful for you?
Classes were extremely helpful. That was part of what led to the miracle, was being able to navigate the ceremonies. It was explained to me that after the second night, I had a really rough night. Tossing, turning, flailing. It was explained to me that was a lot of release that I was going through. And yeah, to have that kind of experience and to be able to use the skills learned in the classes, it's so much is instilled in you that you have so many tools going into the ceremonies that I was able to incorporate. So being able to get myself out of the suffering that I was causing myself was a huge realization that we create our own suffering. And to learn that and to be able to put it into practice in ceremony after being in it, suffering, and realizing this is a choice, and to be able to shift that and navigate out and use the mechanisms learned in the classes was profound, and something that I could carry into regular life as well and implement, moving forward.
So I love that. Tell me some of the tools that were really helpful to you.
Yeah. So becoming aware of my thoughts, challenging my thoughts. Your thoughts are always there. What do you do with them? The negativity comes up, and you have two choices. You could run with it, or you could catch it. And then what do you do when you catch it? You can challenge it. How does this make me feel? The sayings on the walls, the sayings, they are like ingrained in me at this point from hearing them so many times that it's like almost second nature now to implement these tools. Right. And before it was like kind of started off like only in the ceremonies, and now it's like I'm in line for something, getting worked up. Why is this taking so long? And instantly I can kind of like go back and switch this, like, oh my gosh, this is my own making. Do I need to be thinking about this right now? Do I need to suffer, or can I enjoy the moment as it is?
I love the saying that pain is pretty much guaranteed in life, but suffering is optional.
Yeah, I like that.
And what is the suffering? And it's exactly what you talked about. It's the mental, it's the mentation, it's the thinking about, it's the all of the, especially anything that's disempowering, limiting, contracting, worry, doubt, fear, lack, anything based in that is mentation, and it is suffering.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a really bad old joke.
Sure.
What are the 3 rings of marriage? There's the engagement ring, the wedding ring, and the suffering. Okay. Okay.
Love it.
All right. I also do weddings. I'm just saying. So, I do. I give great weddings. Anyway.
I'd love for you to do mine someday.
Okay, let me know.
Yeah,
I'll bring that joke.
Seriously.
Okay. So, but this idea that suffering is optional, that suffering is something we cause, that like, I'm going to be in line. I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to have whatever. Like that was your example. Like I'm standing in line and they get frustrated. And I'm going to have to wait in line. I'm going to have things are going to be delayed. Things aren't going to happen on my timeline. All that's going to happen in life.
Yeah.
how I relate to it is whether I suffer or not.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you just said.
Absolutely.
Which is really profound and beautiful. What about another huge insight as a life-changing tool that you're taking from this week?
There was a lot. There was a lot of realizations that came up, a lot of things that I didn't know I was holding on to. And
okay, tell me about some of those.
Yeah, so first night was very insightful. I didn't think it was profound because I didn't have a crazy vision. I had this whole expectation of what I was expecting, and not getting that really kind of made me miss the point of how important the first night was, which was realizing, going back and seeing some of these traumatic situations that I lived through. And it's like things I remembered and, some things I really didn't remember, but these coming up really helped to show me who I was, how these situations, really caused limiting beliefs, and how I carried these, beliefs into my life. And I could kind of like pull little strings and see like, oh my God, this led to this. And like,
can you give me an example of one?
Yeah. On my probably 10th birthday, I was in elementary school, dressed up all nice. I put a collared shirt on, and we are playing kickball at school, and it's a dirt field, and I'm running around, and I fall in mud, and like my shirt is covered. I start crying. I'm so embarrassed. I rush to the bathroom, and it was so traumatizing for me. And like, yeah, to see how that experience like shaped me. And like, I have been depressed on almost every single one of my birthdays since then. And like, I don't know why I'm depressed on my birthday, but in that moment I knew like this is because of what happened in elementary school, Another big one was my brother and I was maybe about 8. My brother's 18 months younger than I am. And we were at the dinner table, and one of us started laughing. And then I would start laughing. Then he would laugh a little bit louder, and I would laugh a little bit louder, to the point where we were unconditionally just busting up laughing over nothing. And my parents freaked out. We got put on timeout. We had to go sit on the timeout rug by the front door and just sat in silence.
The timeout rug.
Yeah.
Go to the timeout rug.
And like, it's, I explained this to my mom, and it's like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, this isn't like a big situation, but in my head it was like, we were punished for laughing, and to kind of have that limiting belief, to be disconnected from joy, for being punished for being joyful and being a kid, was something that I could see shaping a lot of me cutting myself off from joy later in life. Yeah.
And the thing is that some situations are like classically traumatic, like a person was abused or molested or abandoned, or they grew up in an alcoholic home, or, grew up in a war zone. We've had people that come, that grew up in Serbia during the war, or, all sorts of things like that. Those are kind of classically traumatic. However, being put on the timeout, and being put on the timeout rug, or whatever thing my dad said to me when I was 5, doesn't qualify as trauma in that classic sense.
No.
But trauma isn't what happened. Trauma is the story that we tell ourselves about what happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, these are impressions that are made on a young mind.
Yes.
And as we are young, we make it's like we make a decision about what that means. And then that sort of gets locked in. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And then it goes completely unexamined.
Yeah.
When we start to live our lives according to this belief that we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
I didn't even know why I was depressed on my birthday.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, because of that time that I fell in the mud on my birthday, I'm depressed every day, every birthday, but it's something so deeply ingrained that you're not consciously aware of it. There's just this sadness that comes over, and you made a connection in ceremony.
Yes.
That moment was a moment where you, like, what did that mean for you? What did you say to yourself?
Oh man, I comforted my little boy, my younger self. And I had a lot of experiences like that, of going back, connecting, explaining to my younger self, this is okay. And sitting, nurturing myself.
So it was just your that 10-year, it was your 10th birthday, that 10-year-old who was just needed to be loved.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
needed
Yeah.
some love.
Exactly.
And we hold on to that hurt.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and it's not like, oh, get over yourself. You're an adult now. I'm an adult. I don't need to worry about that thing that happened when I was 10. You know, you're not even thinking about the thing that happened when you were 10. It's the opportunity to go back and see that this experience created a limiting belief.
Absolutely.
And that
Yes.
limiting belief became ingrained in your awareness.
Yes.
And it became a coping mechanism.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
And so that process is something that happens to everybody, no matter what.
Mm.
And the cool thing is we get to change that coping mechanism and that limiting belief through an action. And that action is creating a new experience. And that's what you did. You came and you're creating new experiences around these stories, these limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And so a new experience that creates a new belief.
Absolutely.
About your birthday.
Yeah.
About joy.
Mm-hmm.
About the way life it works, right?
Yeah.
So that now becomes the new way that you not cope, but your new expression.
Yeah.
Becomes a new way that you express yourself in life. That's beautiful, man.
Absolutely.
You did a great job at Rhythmia this week.
Much appreciated. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you would want to share? Anything that's on your heart that you want to say?
Just that this was, one of the most profound weeks of my life. And like you said, it's easy to, and one of the other things was seeing the progression and how much I have grown over the last couple of years. I mean, being in it and not really seeing, that was one of my other miracles, was seeing the progression clearly about how much work I've actually done. And like you said, it's easy to, I feel like I've done like shadow work and it's easy to see the big things, but to have the realization of the little things was, very, very profound for me.
The little things, which are actually big things.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Bobby,
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you agreed. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm so glad you came.
Yeah. Much appreciated. Thanks for asking me. Yeah. It's great.
Happy New Year.
You.
Yeah.
You as well. Absolutely.
And everybody, Happy New Year.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Have a great day. We'll see you next week for I Got My Miracle. And come to